we are working with legislators to get them to find out what's going on behind the scenes with all the black budget money. Mm-hmm. And to protect those who know the answers and that are coming forth to tell the answers so that they aren't harmed.
Okay.
So that's what we're working on, and it's gearing up right now because we're going to ask those people who are in our districts to sign a pledge that says they will support transparency. Nice. And if they refuse to sign the pledge, we're going to publicize that. I believe that we have a merging of different dimensions, and that those of us that are doing the work to raise our vibration, and the way I explained it to somebody the other day is that you can be like in Walmart, and the other dimension people, lower dimension, will be in Walmart, but your paths don't cross because you're not buying the same food, you're not going to the same place, you're not driving the same kind of vehicles. So you're in the same space, but you don't cross paths.
Hey there, beautiful souls. It's your girl, Allie, and we are back at it again for another episode of Living Life Consciously. We have a very special guest lined up for you today, and I am stoked to get started. So without further ado, Justin, say what's up.
Hey, Cosmic Truth Seekers. I'm Justin. This is Living Life Consciously, where we explore the extraordinary, ride the waves of inspiration, and embark on an adventure of limitless curiosity together. Leslie?
Hello, I'm Leslie, your co-host, also known as Light Being Love, an eternal spiritual being having a temporary human experience. We are very happy to have Dr. Melanie Barton Bragg with us today. Melanie, would you like to say hello to everyone?
Hello, everyone. Glad to be here.
Yeah, thank you so much for joining us. And for our audience, in today's episode of Living Life Consciously, we're diving into a truly fascinating and mind-expanding conversation with Dr. Melanie Barton, a holistic psychotherapist, experiencer, and Reiki practitioner whose life completely transformed after a powerful near-death experience. Since that moment, Dr. Melanie has developed the ability to channel higher intelligence while performing Reiki, helping people clear deep energetic blockages, not just within themselves, but also within animals, the land, and even the spaces that they all live in. Her work beautifully blends traditional therapy with spiritual and energetic healing in a way that's both unique and deeply impactful. But what makes this conversation especially intriguing is her connection with who she calls the Council of Eight, a group of extraterrestrial or non-human intelligences here to protect Earth and help guide humanity towards a higher level of consciousness. Here for that. In this episode, we'll explore what really happens during a near-death experience, how modalities like Reiki and Rife can support deep healing, and what her encounters with these beings have revealed about the bigger picture of our reality. We'll also dive into where humanity may be headed next and the role that higher intelligence could be playing in our collective evolution. Dr. Melanie, thank you so much for being here with us today.
Happy to be here. Thank you.
Yes, absolutely. Okay, so to start us off, can you tell us a bit maybe about like your childhood and your upbringing and whether there were any early signs of intuitive or energetic sensitivities back then?
Yes. I have had contact with other beings and deceased people since as long as I can remember. Oh. My mother had similar things. My grandmother did. My daughter does, and her son does. So we come from a long line of people that have contact. To us, it was normal, but we were taught to keep it under wraps because people would think we were crazy.
Sure.
My mother's mother, Granny Mildred, being a psychotherapist, I can diagnose her now as having been on the spectrum and also paranoid schizoaffective disorder. But she also was clairvoyant. She had beings that visited her regularly. She talked about going to Mars. And we just knew this was eccentric Granny Mildred. But to us, we understood because we shared some of the same things. So from the time I was very little, I had an alien being that kept me company. The reason he kept me company is that when I chose to come into this incarnation, I was not coming in fully human. I came in about 39% human. So as they've explained to me later on, I don't fit in this body. So I was sick a lot as a child. So spending time in bed, I would be playing with the fairies and the elves on my rug in my room. I would be talking to myself. My mother would call in the room because I'd always have fevers. Are you okay in there? Yeah. Who are you talking to? Robbie? No, that's your imagination, because she didn't want me to be considered weird like Granny Mildred. And she said, you can't talk about those things. If you talk about those things, they're going to think you're like Granny Mildred. Okay. So when I got ready to go to kindergarten, Robbie said to me, he's about a 3-foot tall gray. He said to me, I've got to go away. I said, why do you have to go away? He said, because I can't go with you. What do you mean you can't go with me? You've been with me since I was little. He said, no. I can't go with you to school. Well, why not? He said, because your teacher won't be able to understand or see me. Oh, he said, I'm going to go away, but somebody else will come later. I said, okay. He said, you'll forget about me, but it's okay. So he left, and I went to kindergarten, and I was sick. I missed half of kindergarten that first year of school because I was sick with tonsillitis and all sorts of mysterious illnesses. So at the end of second grade, we moved into a house. The house had been a doctor's office, and the house was haunted. So when I moved into my bedroom, I would see this little boy sitting on the roof. He had his knees all crunched up, and he was blue. And I knew he was dead, and he knew I could see him, and we could see each other, but I was scared of him, and he didn't communicate much with me. But in my bedroom was a wardrobe. It was where my mom kept all the stuff in mothballs. Yeah. And my dad's army uniform and our winter things were in there. And I would go upstairs to go to bed, and I'd be petrified because a Native American chief lived in my wardrobe.
Oh.
And my parents, it's just your imagination. You've got to go upstairs by yourself. You're 9 years old now. You can do this. No, I can't. No, I can't. And I put the covers over my head and I'd pray to go to sleep because I was shaking so bad. And finally, one night I got brave and I said to him, why are you here? He said, I'm here to guide you. Why does a 9-year-old need guiding? He said, you don't understand now, but eventually you will. I said, well, I just want you to go away. And he said, okay, I will, but others will come. I said, he said, like Robbie. Well, I had forgotten about Robbie. I said, oh. So he left. And then other things happened in that house. How much more do you want to know?
All of it at this point. I'm glued to
Right.
the headphones. I'm listening.
At the end of my senior year, I had moved into my sister's bedroom because she went off to college. My mother had gone away. My parents were divorced at this time. My mother had gone away to go visit my sister's future in-laws for the weekend. I was very religiously fundamental at that age, and I went to a Baptist church, and we got the Sunday school paper that I brought home. And it talked about a missionary family in Africa who had evil spirits that were plaguing them. Well, I read the paper and I got scared. So I took it downstairs and put it in the waste paper basket. I woke up the next morning, went in my closet to get my clothes for the day, and that paper fluttered down from my shelf in my bedroom at my feet.
After you threw it out?
After I threw it out, yes. And I stood there shaking, going, and so I went downstairs and I sat by the door in the chair right by the door until my mom came home because I was so afraid that you could feel this evil presence in the house. Yeah. Well, I didn't know how to get rid of spirits back then, but eventually I learned. But then we moved from then to the fall of 1969 after I graduated high school. I was supposed to go to Philadelphia College of the Bible to become a missionary because that's what good Baptist girls do. So I had filled out the application, was ready to go, but my parents notified me they couldn't afford their portion. So I wasn't able to go. So I was devastated. God, if I'm willing, why won't you let me do what I feel like you called me to do? And the answer was, no answer. You're not doing that. So I enrolled in the community college going at night because I didn't want my high school graduating classmates to know that I didn't go do what I said I was going to do.
Oh,
So,
you're funny.
yes, I was very particular about how I was seen back then.
Okay.
And so in October of 1969, I was asleep, getting adjusted, but very depressed because I wasn't doing what I thought I was supposed to do. In the middle of the night, 3:00 in the morning, I wake up. There's this figure at the end of my bed. It's tall. It's kind of luminescent, just shimmering, and just said, "Go to Rochester." I said, "What? Go to Rochester." I don't want to go to Rochester. I'm enrolled in community college. I'm trying to make a change for my life. And they said, "No, go." Okay. In 48 hours, I had dropped out of college and I moved to Rochester, New York.
Wow.
Okay.
Because I kind of felt like it was a spiritual being and not an evil being this time.
Okay.
So I went, and about 7 weeks later, I met a man on a blind date on his birthday, February 4th, 1970. And we got engaged on February 14th, 1970. And we were married on March 29th, 1970, 7.5 weeks after I met. Yeah.
Wow.
That escalated quickly.
Well, you have to understand, good Baptist girls follow what they feel is right. And if they do something they feel is not right, they have to make it right by getting married.
Gotcha.
Okay.
So that you can read between the lines.
I understand. Message received.
Okay. So from that point onward, many things happened to me that I didn't understand. Like I would be told something when I was trying to go to sleep, and it would be like, "You need to stop doing this," or "You need to go there." Or I get these visions. I see things out of the corner of my eye and I go, "Oh gosh, I must be like Granny Mildred. People are going to think I'm weird. Just ignore it. It's not there. It's not there. Let it go. Let it go." And then as I got further into the marriage, I learned that I had gifts and that I could, this is before cell phones. There were phone booths and things like that. So my husband became a salesman later in our marriage. And if I needed to contact him because his boss was calling me on the house phone, I would just send him a telepathic message. And he would call me and say, "What do you want? Why are you bothering me?" I said, "I'm just trying to tell you your boss was trying to call." He said, "Okay." And then I talked to him. He said, "It's costing me 75 cents, to use this payphone. So you got anything else?" No. Okay. All right. I'll see you at home. Leave me alone. Don't do that. It's like, your boss wanted to talk to you. So I learned over time that I could do things. So we moved to Syracuse, New York.
Okay.
And this would have been in 1974. And he was then managing a drugstore. And that house was haunted.
Oh, geez.
So in the house, I had become pregnant with my second child, my daughter. And my son, who was about 13 months old, would be laying down for a nap. And he starts screaming. And I didn't know why I was screaming. And I'd be trying to lay down, take a nap because I was pregnant and I was exhausted. And over the head of my bed, there'd be a knocking. "Melanie, Melanie, Melanie." And I'd wake up and go, "What?" And there'd be nobody there.
Mhm.
And then the basement that we had, we shared with the neighbor and we became friends. We started having tea and cookies together in the afternoon. And I'd say, when I go down to the basement to do laundry, there's this man standing behind me. She said, "There's something going on." I said, "I know. What do you think we ought to do?" And I said, "All right, we got it. We'll both go down in the basement at the same time and we'll confront whatever it is."
Oh.
And she said, I'm too scared to do that. I am too, but let's do it anyway. So you could hear hammering and sawing in the basement every night. So we decided the time. We got our long extension cord phones. We had it in our hand. "Okay, you ready? Let's go. Let's go." So we go downstairs where the workbench is, and it stopped. So we go back upstairs. The next day I go across the street to the landlord and I said, "What is going on in the house?" He started laughing. I said, "Why are you laughing?"
He already knew.
He knew.
He said, "The guy that built the house died at his workbench below your kitchen."
Oh, wow.
And I said, "Well, that makes sense."
Yeah.
And then when I would come upstairs during the day after doing laundry, on the radio, they played a song called My Melanie Makes Me Smile. I thought, I've never heard that song before. And Lorraine, the neighbor next door, she said, that's a really nice song. So we called the radio station. Can you tell us who the artist is? We're not playing that song. Yeah, you are. It's on my radio. No, we're not playing that song. So I call my husband at the store and I'd say, it's on. Turn your radio on. He said, that's not playing.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So if you go look it up, it's a song by a group out of Australia, which didn't come out till the year after I heard it.
Oh, stop it right now, Melanie. OMG.
Yeah, that's
It didn't
crazy
even come
time.
out yet, and
Not
you were
even come out.
hearing it on
And I was
the
hearing-
radio.
On the radio, yeah.
Wow.
So that tells you stuff was going on.
Yeah, for sure.
So I can go next in the near-death experience, or I can tell you more. You have to tell me where you want me to go.
Okay, well, do you guys have any follow-up questions on what we just
Go
heard?
ahead. Ask
I was
question.
thinking about, with the people who have schizophrenia. I mean, I do believe some do there is probably an aspect to that, but more than anything, it seems like they are just able to see or in other dimensions. Like
Yes,
that's
Right.
what that is, and we just ended up labeling it as a mental illness and not real. Not that I'm not saying that people don't have I guess hallucinations, but I don't think that they all are,
No.
And I don't know, as far as the evil, negative things that are said to some of these people, that I don't like that part. But I mean, I guess I'm open to that. They actually might be dealing with some actual evil entities.
So when I work with clients who they're on the spectrum, either autistic or schizophrenic or bipolar or manic or depressed, I look at them and I tell them, you have a gift. You have been told it's a curse, but it's a gift. And I'm going to help you to learn to manage your symptoms and to recognize when you're crossing from one cycle into the next. And then we're going to tune into that there's stuff you know. And the reason you're so heavily medicated is it's scary. But if you can tune into it, I'm telling you, it's a gift. And so those that have trusted me and have worked with me for a number of years, they're on very little medication now.
That's great.
They're able to have contact with deceased loved ones. They're able to foresee the future. They're able to say to their husband, stop, before the deer ran across the road or before something hit the car. And over time, as they begin little by little trust that I'm not trying to hurt them, that I'm trying to help them use their gift, they become more relaxed and more aware. And they look at, I'm here for a purpose. And
That's
so
beautiful.
I did a workshop, a retreat. I do them regularly at my house now. It's a retreat center. And the group that came last weekend was a variety of traumatized people and experiencers and people who are so stuck they don't even know what they are. They don't know if it's trauma. They don't know if it's depression, whatever. So I did a number of modalities with them so that they could experience different levels of types of treatment. So then they could figure out which one resonates with them. So we had Reiki, we had hypnosis, we had Rife, we had detox, we had spinal flow, we had the energy, which is scalar energy. We had that. We had somebody that did psychometry. We had somebody that did spiritual response therapy. So they got to sample all of these different modalities to see which one resonated with them. And then when they come back to me for individual therapy, that weekend is equivalent to a couple months worth of therapy.
Wow.
I am thoroughly impressed by everything you just said, because there are so many people that get sent to the mental institution, that get locked away, that get so medicated they can't even function past sitting there looking like a zombie. So what you're doing is so beautiful because you're empowering them to not be a victim of whatever, mental illness or whatever they have going on, but you're empowering them to look at it, as you said, as a gift, to use it as a tool to give them strength and empower them to use it and to recognize the cycles. And what you're doing is in my opinion, like groundbreaking. Like that's huge. And we've also spoken to somebody else on our show before, Dr. Pontea Dianati, who's also working with clients similar to you. And she also teaches them similar things, to where rather than just heavily medicating everybody and making them numb, she like teaches them about the spiritual aspect of the things that are happening to and through them, and empowers them also to recognize that and to not be so scared of it, but to like learn how to utilize it almost. So thank you for doing that. I feel like more doctors need to be exactly like you.
Yes.
I do
Definitely.
too.
I mean that with all conviction. Seriously.
I wasn't awakened till I had my near-death experience. So I can go into
Okay.
that next, which
Ooh.
will explain
Yeah,
things
I would
open.
love to hear about it.
How old were you at that point?
It was 1991. I was born in 58. So you do the math. 33, I think.
Ooh,
Okay.
33.
Okay.
Okay.
That's a special number, I think.
It is a special number.
Yeah.
So it was February 26, 1991. I was to have minor surgery to tack up the bladder. I have a bladder disease called interstitial cystitis, which is like arthritis of the bladder. It shrinks and hardens, and you have urgency and frequency and pain.
Okay.
And so they said this would help relieve some of the pain. So during the procedure, my blood pressure went really, really low, and I left my body. And the first thing I met was Mitchell, the son that I miscarried at 4 months along.
Oh,
I knew exactly who he was. He knew who I was. He says, "Hi, Mom."
Oh.
He said, "Yes, I am the age I would have been had I lived." And I said, I couldn't help but just be so enthralled that I could hold him, I could touch him, I could feel him. It was as real as, more so than us talking here. So he says, "Come on, Mom, I want to have you meet the others." And I said, "Mitchell, I'm just so excited." He said, "Mom, there's others to meet." I said, "Okay." So I have a PowerPoint presentation about this. You can have people access it so they can see all the pictures and everything.
Sure.
Okay.
So
Thank you.
we get in this rowboat. He's standing up in front of me. It's a little blue rowboat. I'm sitting on the back, and he's paddling to get to the shore. And when we get to the shore, there's my Granny Mildred.
Oh, Granny.
There's Alan, my neighbor that died of a brain injury. There's Judy, who died from a car accident. Robbie was there.
Huh.
The Native American chief was there. The little boy who sat on the roof was there, and they all greeted me and said, "Hello." And I said, "Why am I here?" Because this was my second time almost getting all the way there. The other time was 1980 when I was stung by 4 bees and I was leaving my body. And as I was leaving my body, my kid said, "Mommy, don't leave us." So I came back in. And I had anaphylaxis shock, and they got me to the hospital in time, so I survived that. But in this instance, they said, "We brought you back because we have to remind you why you came into this incarnation." Okay. I was very religious still, so I didn't understand incarnations and other lives and that sort of
Sure.
thing. I said,
Oh.
"We have things to show you and to teach you." Well, you can't really refuse. So I said, "Okay." I said, "Do I get to stay?" They said, "We're going to show you things." So they started showing me everything that was going to happen. They said, "You won't remember these things until they happen." I said, "Okay." But they said, "Here is where we're going to show you God." Nobody had ever shown me God. It's a space where it's a room full of electricity, and it's like lightning. And so everything and everyone is all connected. And what they
Right.
showed me is if one person, one thing did something, it affected the whole. And that they said, we are all one. We are all connected.
Yeah.
I said, okay. They said, there's a reason you have to go back. Actually, there's two things. And I said, okay. Number one, you have to go back and love the unlovable until they can love themselves. And that includes your mom. Because my mom wasn't raised by her parents because they had supposedly mental health issues. So she didn't know how to demonstrate love because she didn't have it. So they wanted me to teach her. So I said, okay. And the second thing is they said, we're going to send people to you. They will not know they've been sent, but you're to recognize it's a gift the universe has sent to you. And your job is to open up that gift, to bring the present that's trapped inside to the outside.
Oh,
I said, okay. And zip, I was back in my body. But I didn't
Wow.
forget the experience except the things that they showed me that I would have later. So fast forward about maybe 18 months later, I was asleep and they came to me and they said, it's time for you to elevate, to make a spiritual leap. They said, you have a choice about this one. If you choose to go, you'll never come back the same.
Oh, wow.
But it's your choice. And I said, okay. And in that experience, my husband was there with me and he said, I'll go. I made the leap. He didn't.
Oh.
okay.
When I came back into my body, I was not the person who left.
Oh,
And the person that came back, he recognized was different. And he said, what's wrong with you? And I said, I just had a dream because I didn't know what to call it. And they told me not to talk about it. And he used some pretty strong language. You are my wife. You will tell me, because I was still in a religious kind of situation. So
Okay.
out of fear, I told him. And that stopped the spiritual growth.
Oh.
So from that date, it was about 1992 when that happened. And I didn't divorce him to 2009, which I'll get to later.
okay.
But after that spiritual experience, we continued on our journey. I felt this loss of this connection that I had because I wasn't following what they told me to do.
Mm.
So November of 1992, we had gone to Washington, D.C. to visit my son who was in seminary. Again, 3:00 in the morning, I was awakened by a spirit, stood beside my bed and said to me, you're going to open a holistic counseling center. I said, no, I'm not. I'm in a group practice, a pastoral counseling group practice. It's very profitable. I don't want to do that. I said, you will do this. Okay. So I wake up after very little sleep and I tell my husband, this is what I'm going to do. He says, no, you're not. We're very comfortably financially. You're not going to do this. I said, well, they told me I am going to do this. 90 days later, I had a holistic counseling center set up.
Wow.
With therapists, massage therapist, financial planner, nutritionist, chiropractor, because they told me to do it. I learned it's better to follow what they tell me to do.
Right.
So I'll let you ask questions before I tell you more.
Okay, so I'm curious, like after your NDE, when did you become aware of the Council of Eight?
That happened in 2016. I can
Much later.
do the pieces that get to that if you want that.
Did you
Yeah.
and your husband stay together after you opened the practice? Like, what happened with that?
After I opened the practice in 1993, my spouse was let go of a job he'd had for 19 years. He was very lost. He didn't know what he was supposed to do, where he was supposed to go. He was still a pastor part-time, but he was lost. And so he was trying to find his way. I was trying to be the helpful, supportive spouse. But then he decided he would go and become a chaplain in the CPE, Chaplain Pastoral Counseling Group. So he drove every day to Columbia, South Carolina, while I was in Aiken. And then at the end of that, in about August of 1999, he said, I'm moving to Charleston, South Carolina, and I don't care if you go with me or not.
Oh.
Rude.
I said, he said, I've been here for you all these years for you to have your practice. Now it's my turn. I said, oh. Well, against my better judgment, spiritual and psychological counseling help, I went with him. I closed my practice because somebody had made a complaint against me and I was scared. I thought that I'm going to have my ability, my license taken away. So I'll go do what he wants. I'll become a co-pastor with him in Charleston. So I have another career in case I can't do this.
Okay.
I was extremely depressed. I knew I was not in God's will. It was not what I was supposed to do. And so nothing was working.
Okay.
So I had great sadness. He moved to Charleston. I stayed another year and a half to finish out my practice so that I could transition all my clients to the right person. It was horrible. I was sick. I was sad. I was detached from my spiritual resources.
Sure.
And when I get to Charleston, he lets me know it's his house, it's his way. And I financially was destitute, but I had been working on my doctorate because that was my escape clause. If I lost my license, I could still be the pastoral counselor. So I continued to do that. And he said, yes, you can continue that work. When I got there, he would not pay for it. He would not carry through on his promise. So I took out student loans and didn't tell him.
Okay.
And it was the best I can say. It was horrible, absolutely horrible for my health, spiritually, physically, mentally, socially, financially, just the wrong thing to do. But I was trying to do what I was told to do.
Right.
So we were there from 1999 to the end of 2004. And he decided he wanted to move again. Well, I decided I might just stay behind and pastor these two churches all by myself. Maybe that will get me back in the will of God. That was not the right answer.
Okay.
So once again, I followed him to Alabama, closed my practice again, started a new practice in Alabama, and began to feel a little bit of confidence that maybe I was going in the direction I needed to go. Maybe I could get back on track. I was working with a pastoral type group, so I had the support of the group, but it wasn't right. Nothing was going right, even everything I would try. So in 2008, I suspected that he was not in the marriage, shall we say?
Yeah.
That I picked up on it. You know, he had his demons were not being able to be faithful. It was his own dilemma, but I thought I could fix it. And I would say to him, you know, the grass looks greener on the other side, but when you get over there, it's artificial turf with cement underneath.
Ooh.
Okay. But I was what is called home base. You wander off, you get too far from the fold, and so you come back and secure home base. Now everything's good at home, so I can go wander again. Well, that continued until 2009. And I said, I can't do this anymore. I was dizzy. I was sick. I was nauseated. I had severe anemia. And it was my body telling me, you can't do this.
Yeah.
So I said to him, I'm getting a divorce after 40 years.
Wow.
What? You can't. Yeah, I can. So when I made the decision, I was still very sick. I didn't have anywhere to go. I could barely afford my car payment and my rent for my office.
Okay.
After he left, went to live in his camper, I found out I had colon cancer.
Oh, wow.
No.
Now, that to most people would be the worst thing ever. It was the gift for me because that tumor represented me not following my gut of what they told me to do.
Okay.
And prior to me going into the hospital to have the tumor removed, I had 5 TIAs.
What's that?
Yeah, transient ischemic attack.
Yes,
I had one.
minor strokes. So by the time I went in the hospital, they had to decide, are they going to do the colon resection or the carotid artery surgery? I had to close my practice in 10 days. I didn't have a place to live. I couldn't afford my car. I couldn't work. I was in my dark night of the soul. I came away from that and moved in with my daughter. And on top of it, I got Lyme disease and 7 co-infections. I had the beginning of multiple myeloma. I have a benign brain tumor. I have Hashimoto's.
Wow.
I had heavy metal toxicity. I mean, if you could have gotten any worse, I don't know of it. And I was to the point where I didn't want to live. There was no reason to live.
Wow.
And my daughter said to me years before, Mom, I'm never going to have a child unless you're there to help me.
Oh.
In the midst of all this, she found out she was pregnant. And this was my reason that I had to get better because she needed me and her son needed me. So I started to pull up out of the dregs and while I was getting treated for the multiple myeloma symptoms, I had to be away from everybody. So I had to reassess what's of value to me. Do I still want to go to recovery meetings that I've been going to for 28 years? Is that serving me? No. So maybe I can go to a different kind of support group for family members. S&On did that. I had to spend thousands and thousands of dollars on medical treatment I didn't have. In the midst of it, I started a radio program called the Dr. Melanie Show. And I invited the practitioners that taught me the methods they use that I use to get better. So you can go to my radio show. It's still archived on my website, and you could go listen to those podcasts and you can hear my stories.
Okay.
Awesome.
So go ahead. No,
well, I just remembered what I was thinking that I forgot about, but it was when you had the dream or the experience or whatever it was. Do you think that it was like a walk-in kind of experience, like
yes,
a switch?
Yes, it was. Yes, very much so. Yeah.
Okay.
So after I started to get better and I did the radio show, I met my second husband. And I had been single for 4 years, and we were very aligned. He supported what I did. I started being able to go to work 1 day a week. He would drive me because I couldn't navigate. I couldn't think clearly.
Mm-hmm.
And the funny part is he would go to do things while I was working with clients. He would go from Burger King to get ice cream to Costco to get ice cream. And then after we were done with me working, we'd go eat dinner and go to Jason's Deli and he'd get ice cream. So obviously,
I used to eat at Jason's Deli all the time.
Yes. So
they have really great ice cream. You just made me remember what I ate there.
They do. Yes, yes. So we got married on December 14th, 2013.
Okay.
12/14/13.
Yeah.
Interesting number.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
10 months later, which was 10 days after we signed our power of attorney and wills and all that, he had a stroke and he died.
Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry.
10 months after. And yes, I was devastated, but I also recognized he came into my life to serve a function.
Okay. Yeah.
Powerful.
He came back to me after he passed. And he said to me, I came to check on you. I can't leave you. I promised you I wouldn't leave you. His name was Woody. And I said, Woody, you loved me till I could love myself. You served your purpose. You did what you were supposed to do. It's okay to go. And he said, I don't want to leave you. I said, Woody, you're supposed to go. It's okay. So that night when he came, my sister was spending the night. And my grandson was there. So I asked him in the morning, I said, did you notice anything last night? And Jason said, yeah, Woody was here. I said, where did you see him? He said, he was sleeping right beside you. I said, that's right. And my sister woke up and she said, Woody was here last night. I said, I know.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
And he's come to me about 2 other times since then. But
okay.
So
he's still watching over you for sure.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. When I tell you the other piece, you'll see how he is. But,
okay.
So that was.
Shout out Woody.
Yeah. Right.
Hi, Woody.
Yeah. He died in 2014. In 2015, when I was staying with my daughter, because I lived an hour away from where I worked, and I was just too tired to go back and forth. So I'd stay with her a couple of nights a week. And one of the nights that I was staying with her, Jason and I were sleeping in the same room. And they came for us. The aliens came for us. A bright light. He was petrified. I took him and held him. Oh gosh, let's see. That would have been 15. He was born. So he was 4. He was 4 years old.
Okay.
So I held him in the closet and I let him know it's okay. They're our friends. They're our family. They're not going to hurt you. And then he was okay. He doesn't remember that, but I do remember it. Okay. So after that, I contacted MUFON and just let them know what was going on. And when I went back to Alligator Point where I lived, one night I woke up and the 7-foot tall Arturian and the 3-foot gray were at the edge of my bed. And I said, hello, because I'm not afraid of them. We're family. And they said, we're here to work on you. So don't worry about it. Go back to sleep. I said, okay. So when I woke up in the morning, I had 3 fingerprints, bruises on the inside of my thighs because they had worked on my bladder.
Oh, wow.
And I had a mark on my forehead and my pupils were all black. And I had a severe headache because they had intensely worked on me.
Yeah.
So when I contacted MUFON, they said, you need to contact Denise and Kathy because they're in Florida and they can help you. I said, okay. So it just so happened that next week I was going to be in Orlando and they came to the place I was staying and we met. We talked for a number of hours. And they said, you need to come back in August for the MUFON conference. It's going to be in Orlando. I said, okay. So when I came back, during one of the breaks, we had a lunch break. I sat at this table outside the conference hall, and Kevin Briggs came and said, can I sit here with you two women? I said, certainly. So he sat down, and he
was
said,
telling us the story. Yeah.
Yeah. So you've already heard it?
No, keep going. Keep going.
Okay.
Yeah.
But he said, I was told to come to this conference, and I was told I'm supposed to start telling the world that they're here to prepare for the great reveal. Would you be willing to help me with this? I said, sure, of course. I'd be happy to. So we went to Kathleen's house, and I'm sure he told you this part too.
Yeah.
And he starts telling us all this physics and science stuff, and he has no idea what he's talking about. So Denise and I look at each other, and she goes, do you know what he's doing? Yeah.
Channeling.
Kathy, do you know what he's No, he's channeling. Kevin says, what's that? And we said, you're getting information that's not yours, that's coming through you. He said, oh, okay. I said, we could help you with that. He said, all right. So once a month, I came down to Groveland, where he lives. Kathleen, Denise, Kevin's wife, and we all sat in their media room, and we would measure the temperature in the room. We would record what we did. We would record our symptoms. I would lead them in a meditation to get him into the channeling state. And at first he couldn't do very long because he just couldn't stand to the side very long. But the longer he did it, the better he got at it.
Okay.
Did he tell you about the time that Ra came through?
Yeah, he was telling us about that, but I would love your POV.
Yeah.
Okay. So Ra, who is the overseer, the watcher of the Council of Eight, he was speaking through Kevin, and because I'm a scientific research type person, I said, I need proof. I just can't take this speaking through Kevin. Whoever was inside of Kevin, Ross, stood up in a loud, booming voice and said, is this enough proof for you?
Whoa.
Shaking, I said, yes, thank you very much.
Got it.
Yeah. So over time, they would give us assignments of what we were to do. And one night they said that they would show up at my house at Alligator Point at 10 o'clock on a Tuesday night, and that I was to go outside and to greet them. Well, I go outside at 10 o'clock, and my neighbors are on their porch a few feet from my house, drinking and partying and having a good time. And I'm thinking, it's cloudy up there. They're not going to show up. So right at 10 o'clock, there's these 3 flashes in the sky. I'm thinking, is that lightning? So I speak out loud. I say, if that's you, do that again. 3 flashes.
Oh, snap.
Oh.
I said, okay, if that's really you, then stop it. So they did. And so each night I would go outside and I go to the front yard, and there'd be orbs out in the yard. And I have pictures somewhere of them. And I go outside and the street light would go off, just like with Kevin. And so over time, they gave us assignments of things we were to do. And we met.
That happens to Leslie.
That happens to Leslie all the time.
Oh,
Green
okay.
lights, sorry.
Okay. No, that's fine. So we worked together for 2 years for that phase of the work we were to do. So
That's
That
awesome.
is so interesting.
Awesome.
I feel like that was probably a part of like a healing journey for you as well.
Oh, yeah.
Back on the path and just
yes,
the
it
more on the
was.
path. And you seem like you're a happy, more fulfilled person, I'm sure, than you were.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yes. Now, the first or second time I went, my phone got fried.
Oh.
So
Did the work they did, are you still having any symptoms of the stuff with the bladder or any of that? Or are you did it cure you or did it help
No.
or what happened there?
Back then, it was 2017 when Shiva showed up. Shiva is 7 foot tall.
Oh.
And she's like iridescent blue gown. Her wings are like bird-like feathers.
Okay.
And she showed up in my bedroom. She was hovered over me. And she said, I'm here to let you know you're okay. And then I'm going to work on you. And she said, you are my daughter, not like a daughter. You are my daughter.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
And you chose to come into this life to facilitate people waking up, consciously becoming aware. And I said, okay. So when she worked on me, what had happened is I had had a urinary tract infection for 14 months and none of the prescriptions worked. And so when she worked on me and the other beings worked on me, it went away finally. So that got better. The Lyme disease got better. The fatigue got better. The Hashimoto's got better. So over time, yes, I did get better. Not 100%, but yes, better. Better is better.
I have a question regarding your illnesses, and some people may hear my question and be like, ooh, Allie, cringe. Why would you say that? But hear me out. Because we talk a lot about soul contracts and how we feel like, you know, before you incarnate here, you sign up for certain lessons and then you go through Earth and you experience certain things to allow you to experience those lessons. Now, ultimately, where my train of thought is going is I'm comparing all of those illnesses that you had to the length of time that you were denying your gifts and not following your spiritual path and wondering if the two are connected. So my question is, do you think that all those illnesses were a literal result of you not following your path for that long? Is that like a weird question?
It's not a weird question at all. It's certainly true. Yes.
Okay.
But they told me, because I'm not 100% human, I chose to have a human experience and I don't fit in the body. And
I feel like that's the case with a lot of people with autism as well.
I agree. Yes. So they offered to me in 2017, they said, we will take you out of here. You can come back and work with us if you choose. And I said, I can't leave my family. I can't leave my clients. I don't want to do that. And they said to me, you might regret that, but yes, we'll allow you to do that, but we're not going to protect you. If anything happens to you, you're on your own. And when I told that to Kathy and Denise and Kevin, they started laughing. They said, you might have wished you took them up on that offer.
Yeah.
But in a way, the illnesses also were kind of like a, I guess, helped get her to the point where you're at, right? I mean,
absolutely, yes.
It went both ways. Like it was caused because you weren't following, but it also helped you get back.
That's a good point.
You had to dig deep and go, you know, in the dark.
And they said it helps me with my clients because I understand what pain is like.
Absolutely.
So
what infirmity is like and what happens when you don't follow what you're instructed to do.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm also wanting to ask you, you've mentioned a few times about how you were like sleeping and then all of a sudden you heard a voice and like, it sounds like this voice is like a no holds bar kind of thing. Like they don't ask you what you would like to do. They're just like, look, you're doing this. Do you think that being, person, entity, spirit, whatever word you want to put in front of it is like one of your spirit guides, like one of your spirit team, and they're just like the one that doesn't hold back? They're just like the most direct one. And then are you aware of who's on your spirit team? Have you ever dived into figuring out who they all are?
Yes.
Okay.
So it's multifaceted to answer that question, but yes.
Okay.
So in 2010, during meditation, I was shown a vision of the house I would build. And I said, I don't have money to do that. And they said, you will build it because you have to build it so that they will come. And I said, okay, so I will send you a picture, the newspaper article and the tour of my house. It's a round house with a CE5 roof. So you can and I will tell you how they spoke to me.
Hello, I am the owner and creator of this property. It's called Nashaway. And the reason it's called Nashaway is that it came to me in a meditation that I should build this house that is made out of concrete and it's round. After consulting with a psychic friend, she told me the name Nashaway was a Native American tribe that was in the New England area and migrated south and integrated with other tribes. I have a generator for when the power goes off so that it comes on 30 seconds after the power goes off. I have a very nice backyard And at the far end over there, it leads to a water feature, which is a wetland. And so I'm going to leave that as it is. The porch you see there will eventually be enclosed. It will have a infrared sauna on it, and it will be an all-weather room. And then over here is my treatment area, where I do Reiki and Rife on clients. So you'll be sure to want to come experience that. This is the kitchen that has antimicrobial countertops made out of copper. And this is the living room, dining room area. This is the spiral staircase, and it has a rope railing, and it winds around. And it comes to a landing. And then we come out here on the roof. Very spacious. And there are the chairs we use for the Skywatch. And this week, the week of February the 17th, the solar panels will go here on this part of the roof. And over here is the woods that leads to the water feature. I hope you like this tour, and I hope that you will come to visit for a retreat or just to visit. Thank you.
It was in March of, I think it was 2022. I was sound asleep in my office because I was living in my office to save money. I was sleeping on a massage table because I couldn't afford an extra bed. And they woke me up in the middle of the night. More voice out loud than any human speaking. And they said, Nashaway. I woke up, I said, what? Nashaway. So I wrote it down and I contacted my psychic friend in New England. She said, I'll check with my guides. We'll figure it out. So she did. And it's a Native American tribe that lived in the New England area. They migrated and intermarried with other tribes. But a group of them, 40 of them, ended up on the land I now have my house on. Oh. And I was instructed to come here to the property while the house was being built, and I was to meet with them. So I did. It came on a Sunday afternoon. It was in March, I think, of 2022. And I met with them, and they said, we have been waiting for you. And I said, okay, why? And they said, we have been the keeper of this land, and now we want to turn it over to you. And I said, I don't know how to be a keeper of the land. And they said, we will help you, but you have to give us permission to go to the spirit world. And I said, you promise you'll be here? They said, yes. And they said that they are connected to the big chief that was in my wardrobe growing up.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
And they said, let us go. So I did. And when they left, a flock of swallowtail birds flew up right where they had been. And I have a picture of that.
That's, I'm just getting like
magical
the whole time too.
Oh, man.
So when they speak to me, I have two guides, Gaius and Taurus, that help me with the Reiki that I do. Because when I do Reiki on somebody, I call in the helpers and then the deceased loved ones or their spiritual guide or their higher self. And so I have a whole host of people that come in. Often Edgar Mitchell, the astronaut, will come in and work with me.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
That's neat.
That is so interesting.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Edgar Mitchell is also, he came out and said that he saw them following them on the way to the moon.
Yes.
Who's them? What do you mean saw them?
ETs.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. That there was craft following their capsule on the way to the moon.
I remember that now.
To, Kevin.
Yep.
Yeah.
I had completed my major task for going to the moon and was on the way home and was observing the heavens and the earth from this distance, observing the passing of the heavens as we were rotating. I saw the earth, the sun, the moon, and a 360-degree panorama of the heavens. The magnificence of all of this, what this triggered in my visioning, in the ancient Sanskrit, is called samadhi. It means that you see things with your senses the way they are, but you experience them viscerally and internally as a unity and a oneness accompanied by ecstasy. All matter in our universe is created in star systems. And so the matter in my body and the matter in the spacecraft and the matter in my partner's bodies was the product of stars. We are stardust. And we're all one in that sense.
He started Noetic Science. That's his organization. He started.
Yes.
I never realized that. Okay.
Mhm.
Now, speaking of organization, I'm going to just hop on that train right now because I see you're wearing your New Paradigm Institute t-shirt. That was not lost on me. I'm very observative. So do you want to jump a little bit and start talking about that? Because I feel like we're covering so much ground. I don't know if you guys want to pause before we do that. What do you have?
I want to come do CE5 with you.
Oh, yeah. CE5 house. What? Where's the
Right.
Can I come?
That's what I'm saying.
The next retreat will be June 13th or 14th, and you're welcome to come. Or if you want to come and do a CE5 on your own for a weekend, we can arrange that. I'm not that far from you.
We will talk about that after.
Yeah.
Let's
for sure.
table that and not forget that, please.
Okay.
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 Yeah, because we're all so close, and it's like,
Yeah.
Like we said with Kevin and Denise, and Kathleen, I think it'd be awesome
To get it together
we could all get together and do something. I don't know.
Like we're trying to join your cool kids club is what we're saying.
You're welcome to join. So
Awesome.
yes.
Thank you.
So when I was living in a different place in 2000, I think it was April of 22, I was awakened again in the middle of the night, and Shiva was speaking to me, and she said, "There's something you're going to do." I said, "What?" She said, "Yes, there's something you're going to do." Okay. She said, "But not right now." Okay. She said, "I want you to be willing to speak at the United Nations." I said, I would not know what to do. She said, "You have to be willing." So I contacted Kevin. I said, "Could you please check this out? Because I think I'm hallucinating. This is not for me." And he checked it out and he said, "Yes, that is possible." So over time, I journal pretty much every day, every other day. And I ask for, because Shiva is my galactic mom, I ask her for direction. So I'll write a question and then I will alternatively write the answer with her channeling through me.
Mm-hmm.
And so back when I first got the invitation to look at the New Paradigm Institute, it was fascinating to me because it resonated with so much of what I believe in.
Mm-hmm.
And so while I was considering it, Kevin said he got a message from the council that said I'm supposed to get involved. At the same time, I was getting the message.
Oh,
wow.
So that was confirmation for me.
Yeah.
So
Synchronicity.
Yes. So I've been involved about a year now.
Okay.
And I'm now the co-state lead for Florida. And I lead a group. Anybody's welcome to come. It's every other Sunday night from 7 to 8 p.m. on Zoom. We talk about what we're doing, which is we are working with legislators to get them to find out what's going on behind the scenes with all the black budget money.
Mm-hmm.
And to protect those who know the answers and that are coming forth to tell the answers so that they aren't harmed.
Okay.
So that's what we're working on, and it's gearing up right now because we're going to ask those people who are in our districts to sign a pledge that says they will support transparency.
Nice.
And if they refuse to sign the pledge, we're going to publicize that.
Okay.
Ooh,
Okay.
the shade in that. That is okay.
Have you guys been in contact with Anna Paulina Luna?
Yes.
Awesome. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
She's one of the people that we're working with. Yes.
Nice.
Amazing.
That's awesome.
Okay.
Yeah.
And shout out Danny Sheehan and his
Yes.
amazing hair.
Yes. Yes.
And also, I feel the need to mention that we've spoken with Stephen Bassett before, and he's involved with Danny Sheehan and the New Paradigm Institute also.
Yes. Yes. So I would recommend that you talk to Olivia Cantu, who is our volunteer coordinator for the Citizens for Disclosure. And we work very closely together. She's got a lot of experiences that she can share with you that I can't tell her story. But when you hear her story, you'll know that it was the right thing to do.
Cool. So, appreciate that. Definitely.
So what they told me when I started saying, all right, I'll do the retreats, there is a person who is here working on my house to get it finished because I had to let go of the previous people that were doing it because they weren't doing what I needed. And this person, we began to have dreams and visions of the same thing at the same time. We would start texting each other, and he'd go, I got the same thing. So we began collaborating how to design what it is that this retreat is supposed to be. Mm-hmm. And what the council told me is you have a pressured timeline. The reason you have a timeline is that things are going to accelerate. And when the reveal is done, people are going to flock to a place that can quickly train them how to raise their vibration, how to connect with us and galactic beings. So you got to get this done. Mm-hmm. So this person and I have been working. We have the different phases of the production. And right now, I just had a labyrinth built in the last month. So that's here now for people to walk on. The next phase is to get the cabins built. There'll be 4 A-frame cabins that go to the creek. In the creek and woods area, it's another dimension. So when you walk through, you can feel that you're crossing from one phase to another.
Oh, wow.
You can even feel the squiggly lines.
Really?
We closed a portal here a week ago Friday, the whole retreat group. We could feel it. You could feel a shift in the ground. And the next day when we were doing the different modalities, you could see fairies, orbs, lights, all kinds of things. So it closed a portal that opened something else.
What was the reason for closing the portal?
I want to go.
I want to go
too. Yeah, same.
They said that it served its function, that what was to have come through, all that needed to come through was now here. And it was time to close it.
Okay.
Because at nighttime before the closing of the portal, I would hear drumming and chanting of the Native Americans on the other side. And I don't hear them now.
Wow.
That makes me think of Skinwalker Ranch, the TV series. There was an episode where they invited Native American drummers out to open the portal.
Yes.
Yeah. Wouldn't that be cool if that was connected to your portal?
Oh, man. Yeah.
And maybe that's the drumming you were hearing or something.
Maybe. Anything's possible.
Or that is just like the protocol of,
Yeah, right? How to open it.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Anytime I hear about portals, I think about like potential Bigfoot or Sasquatch or Yeti or whatever word you want to use to describe them. And we were just talking with, was it Denise about that? Or was it Kevin? I can't remember at this point. Sorry.
Kevin.
But Kevin. And I've been fascinated with Sasquatch because they're known to be seen traveling with orbs. So it's like they're interdimensional. They're here. They're not. If you see them, they just peace out and like poof out of existence. And it's just so fascinating because there's so many indigenous lore surrounding their existence that I feel like Bigfoot needs to make a comeback or something at this point. Like,
no, it was Denise. It was Denise.
But, yeah, because I don't recall that and I missed the one with Denise. But yeah, I'm thinking, just like spirits, I mean, everything's right here. So, I mean, I guess all everything is right here, in the dimension we're in and our bodies that we're in. Not everybody can, see or feel or understand that, I guess.
Yeah.
Right.
What are your thoughts on that? Do you feel like everything is right here with us?
I believe that we have a merging of different dimensions, and that those of us that are doing the work to raise our vibration, and the way I explained it to somebody the other day is that you can be like in Walmart, and the other dimension people, lower dimension, will be in Walmart, but your paths don't cross because you're not buying the same food, you're not going to the same place, you're not driving the same kind of vehicles. So you're in the same space, but you don't cross paths.
It's a good way to put it. I want to ask you about the idea of open contact, because that's another thing we were talking about with Denise and Kevin and Kathleen and all them. The idea of open contact, because, okay, so essentially everybody seems to feel like we're leading up to something, like we're on that roller coaster clicking up to the top, and like we're reaching the precipice, and like, eventually once you get to the top, the only way to go is down, right? So it's like, I'm thinking about open contact. I'm thinking about all the rumors surrounding 2027. I'm thinking about all these meteors that are showing up in our atmosphere within the last week. So do you know, has the Council of Eight let you know anything about like when this big thing is going to happen? What they say?
What they say to me is that we have to do our work. We have to make it safe for them to show themselves, because right now it would be a false flag. It would be perceived as they were coming to harm us, and they're not. Kevin can tell you that he met with them it was in Central Park. It was I think it was 2019 on February 1st. They were to show themselves, and we were in contact with each other, and we were corresponding with each other. And he got the message that they were not going to come because it wasn't safe. And so, because
Central Park's pretty sketchy.
Yeah. So what they did is they said, we're going to do a soft disclosure instead. So what they did is then they taught us, as the Council of Four, we were to branch out. So we started branching out. So for 2 years after we met once a month, Kathleen, Denise, and I would lead a meditation group on Wednesday nights. And we did that for 2 years. And then they instructed me to start groups. So I started starting groups. And so I've started a number of groups to expand. And now they've expanded and they've expanded. So it's soft disclosure.
Very cool. If you had advice for people in our audience on how to help assist in the ascension, or how to raise their frequency, or how to, aid in this process, what advice would you give people?
I would say to them that you have to get yourself in the right headspace. So you need to be listening to music that raises your frequency. If you're in the lower emotional, pain, depression, anxiety, you're not going to be able to rise up and greet them. They have to come down. We have to go up. There are meditations that I've created for them to be able to raise up their frequency, but they've got to be willing to go through the process and learn how to do it.
Interesting.
And I'm willing to teach people. I can teach them different things. I can send them videos. If you go to consciousawakeningnetwork.org, I have a show on there. It's my channel, and a lot of these videos that I'm talking about are on there. Or they can contact me, and I'll be glad to teach them how to get them ready. Because if enough of us are ready, they will show themselves if they know it's safe.
Gotcha.
Kevin asked for the UN to have a protocol of how to, welcome them, and they didn't have one.
Yeah, he showed us that yesterday.
Yeah. So they need to have that. So maybe that's my function, is to help get the UN ready for that. I don't know. I'm willing, but I don't know.
So I feel like now would be a great time for you to tell our audience where they can find you online, drop your links, let them know where they can find you, your YouTube, and how to get in touch with you, and some cool stuff you have coming up.
Okay. So it's Dr. Melanie Barton at gmail.com. So it's Dr. Melanie Barton at gmail.com. On Facebook, it's Melanie Barton Bragg. On my website, it's thedrmelanieshow.com. You can look for me on, I sent you the links for all the different social media that I'm on, so they can look for that.
Okay.
The things that are coming up. I'm going to be doing a presentation, a live presentation on the Saturday before Easter on the Conscious Awakening Network. I am in the documentary with Kathleen, Denise, and Kevin that's coming out, Greater Reality. That is in process of them finding the distributor for that.
My name is Reiner Hernandez. I'm a tax attorney. I had zero interest in anything that was paranormal related. And then, holy shit, what the hell just happened? I knew that this was not a dream. This was very, very real. And I needed to find out what happened to me. I set out to interview experiencers, PhD academics and medical doctors that had been researching all of these paranormal experiences.
I'm able to travel outside of my body on the astral plane, and I have done since I was 9 years old.
The first time I had an experience with the beings, I was about 5 years old.
I had a hunch that these orbs were something out of this world.
Would have an out-of-body experience 3 or 4 times a month, and I've learned how to move, fly, walk through walls.
The elements of a near-death experience are separation of consciousness and out-of-body experience.
There were beings, spiritual beings swirling around me and bringing me peace.
I would say my near-death experience in many ways changed me completely.
We are saturated with intelligent life right here and right now.
I see some creatures in the room. The big head, the black eyes, the long fingers.
I was shown things that you just don't see in this world.
When I opened my eyes, there was Katie, this little girl spirit.
For me, all of this is under one rubric. Consciousness includes the physical universe. It includes the cosmos. Everything we know about quantum physics and cosmology.
Consciousness is the most fundamental energy of the universe.
We share a collective consciousness.
I think that the brain is a projection of consciousness.
Everything ultimately evolves to the soul itself. This is just the physical container.
And it's only by bringing all these pieces together, both finding their commonalities and how they can each inform each other, that we can then see the big picture.
I set out on a quest to find out what happened to me. Began to realize that there are literally people all over the world having very similar experiences. Is there life after death? Do we live in a simulated reality? Is it possible that all of these paranormal experiences are somehow interrelated?
It's as if it was trying to tell us something. All of these are related. Now it's up to you to figure out how.
The next retreat is like June 12th or 13th. We haven't decided which day. Yes. Other than that, I do regular things all the time. I work with clients. I help people to extract entities. I teach people how to protect yourself. This hat has special metal in it to protect me because, believe it or not, there are forces that don't want us to do what we're doing.
Sure.
So I have a brass pyramid and a copper pyramid.
Oh, nice.
Nice.
Okay.
So that protects me. I have black salt that you buy on Amazon. It's all around the perimeter of my house to protect from any negativity coming in.
Okay.
When I do any meditation, any work with anybody, I do a prayer of protection first.
Okay.
Because if you don't know already, there are forces that can penetrate in. They can do remote viewing into what we're doing.
Sure.
And at the channeling that Kevin did about a month ago at Gary Borse's house, they came in, even though I'd done a prayer of protection. And so when he was channeling, when Ort came through, he recognized that something was off. And that happened one other time when we were working together monthly. So it's a real thing.
Okay.
So you need to protect yourself.
Right.
The way I do that is I say, envision that you have a white divine light and love encircling you and going in and through you and connecting you to others. And then you picture your feet are like redwood tree roots going deep in the earth. And out of the top of your head is a silvery cord. And you pull on each end to make sure you don't totally leave your body and not come back when you meditate and raise your vibration. So that's what I do.
Awesome. Well, thank you for sharing all of that with our audience. I will have all of your links in the video description box. So if anybody feels called to contact you or work with you or look at your videos or anything, that will definitely be there. So thank you so much for sharing that. I feel like now is the perfect time to ask you your question.
Okay. What's your greatest hope for the future of humanity?
That we'll be receptive to the things that our galactic friends can teach us.
Yeah.
Which is a lot.
Definitely.
A lot. Yes.
Awesome.
I hope we can get to the stage, to where humanity can get to the stage to where that we can receive that message, and actually act upon it.
Which, thank you for saying that, makes me think of something we talked about before the show that we said we wanted to get to, which was autism and telepathy.
Yes.
So I feel like now would be a great time to talk about how, humans are innately telepathic. We've just been programmed and stigmatized away from it. But really, it's an innate human ability that we're getting back to. So what do you have to say about that subject?
I have known for many, many years that people on the spectrum have skills and abilities and connections to things beyond us. And when I saw the telepathy tapes, I went, yeah, that verifies it. Yes. So I've asked some of mine who are verbal, are you able to meet on the hill? And some say yes. And some say no, but I just know stuff. And I said, I know you know stuff because you'll say something that to me, it's like I was thinking that, or, okay, be careful what I'm thinking because they can tune in. So they're very perceptive. Yes.
Love that. Thank you for sharing that. And then, Leslie, did you have something to say? Because I was about to ask another question.
I could have, but I was just, considering I myself have, a child with autism who is very verbal. He almost never stops talking, but, I've asked him to, and I don't know, sometimes I don't, like I feel like the way he, reacts or responds to things, it's almost like he thinks that I know what he's thinking, or you know what I mean, but I don't. And so, but he said no, and I don't know if he totally understood, what I was asking him, but I definitely do see, and I've heard somewhere before, I can't tell you what it was or who was saying it. It was a video I was watching, but that their body, they are outside of their body. It's like their light body is halfway in their body. And I don't know if any of you recognize what I'm talking about, but it was a video.
Yeah, absolutely.
Somebody that I think knows what they're talking about was saying this.
But these experiences do start to beg the question, are we more than just our body? Are we consciousness? Are we an illusion or a hologram? Are we spirit? Are we light? And that brings us to our next teacher, Susie Miller, an incredible and brave human being who's based in Arizona.
My name is Susie Miller, and I'm the author of Awesomeism, A New Way to Understand the Diagnosis of Autism. I was a pediatric speech-language pathologist for decades and am now working with families all over the world.
So tell me about your first interaction with this population.
So my very first interaction was in 1999, and I was given a client that was diagnosed with autism. I went to this kid's daycare center to see him. He was walking around his daycare center saying, "It's the millennium, it's 1999. And through my speech pathology eyes, I think, okay, this is a strange little kid. I didn't know what to do with him because I had no training in autism at the time. So I just was giving him some space. I sat down against the door. I let him walk around the room and get used to me and me used to him. And as he was doing that, I saw this body of light floating above his physical body. I kept rubbing my eyes, wondering, what the heck is going on? What am I seeing? And I couldn't get that visual to go away. I saw it with my eyes open, saw it with my eyes closed. It didn't matter. And then I heard this little boy's voice say in my head, he said, "That's my light body. You're here to put my light body back into my physical body." And I had no idea what he meant. I had no idea why he thought I had the ability to do that, because I didn't consciously know anything about that. But nevertheless, he took me through a process over a year where that's exactly what we did.
How old was this young man?
He was 4.
Oh my goodness, he was 4. Okay. So how was he communicating that to you?
Telepathically.
Had you ever experienced anything like that before?
No. But it was so clear, Kai. It was like, it wasn't like something like you're kind of going, did I just make that up? It was so clear in my head.
This is fascinating because it reveals how some of our students process information. Most people process things through our 5 individual senses and the integration of sensory and motor skills. The non-speakers, however, without that connection to reliable motor skills, seem to process information through the transfer of energy instead, whether that energy be thought, emotion, light, or sound, as we hear about next when her student requested tuning forks.
I went out and bought a whole array of tuning forks. I would bring them and he'd say, not that one, not that one, not that one. Finally, we got to 2 that he liked. And I hit the 2, and you could literally just see him start to regulate in his body. And he said, one of the tones is my soul tone. One of the tones is my body tone. I'm trying to get my spirit and my body to go together.
So, yeah, and I totally can see that with my own child. He is like kind of like, almost seems like he's in another dimension sometimes, and just I don't know, but yeah, I don't really have too much to say about that, but yeah, it'd be pretty cool if he ever did.
Ask him how he connects with things outside of himself. Does somebody in his head talk to him, or does he see a picture?
I'll ask him that.
That's a good question.
Yeah.
And if ever he can come here, I would love to play with him, to get him to experience some things on the property, to see what he gets, see what he picks up on.
Oh.
That would be interesting.
All right. Last question I feel like I want to ask you is, from your perspective, do you think that we're going through a shift in consciousness, and what gives you hope about where humanity as a whole is headed?
Yes, they told me just the other day that I was making a shift, and the shift happened yesterday. I was in the energy room, which is the scalar energy. If you look it up, it's unifiedhealing.com. It's UNIFYD healing.com. So you can listen to this again, and it will find one near you. So there is hope. And yes, there is a shift. And like I said about being in Walmart and not seeing the other people, the shift is your focus on things will be of a higher elevation. So the calamities in the world will still be going on, but they won't touch you, because that's not where your energy is. Wherever you direct your energy is what will happen. So you pull away from that. Are you familiar with the Maharishi effect?
I'm familiar with Maharishi, but not the effect part.
Okay. The effect is, and Denise and Kathy and I have done this process. If there's something you want switched, like Denise and I get together when a hurricane's coming, and we will envision that we're shrinking the hurricane. We're taking that angry energy and we're making it smaller and calmer.
Oh.
And we've done this over a number of hurricanes. And the last time we did it, it was headed for the Bahamas, and we didn't do it soon enough. But the last time it went from a category 5 to a 3 in 2 hours. And the last time there were 2 headed for Tallahassee, and they bypassed Tallahassee. So Maharishi effect is if a group of people all meditate, focusing on the same positive thing,
okay,
you'll see the shift.
I love that.
Can I join that meditation group? Because
yes, you can.
I love to meditate.
You mentioned that the shift happened yesterday. Wasn't yesterday a day where there was a big intention where I saw a bunch of, I guess it was like TikTok videos, but, and it was on the Discord that we were on, but, that I think Silver Girl was talking to you about. But, so yeah, I feel like that was the same day. But there was millions of people, I would assume, around the world.
Yeah.
Focusing in on their intention on the same thing:
Yeah.
peace, love, unity, and respect.
Just like the Buddhist monks who did their peace walk. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, I followed
we
their
followed
whole
them.
story. I followed that whole story. And especially when the dog had to have knee surgery, I was like, oh my God, send blessings to the people in the animal hospital. Okay, very cool. Well, this has been an
Thank
amazing
you so much for all you do.
Yeah, your resume, your CV, whatever you want to call it, is like a mile long, and I'm like so fascinated by all of it. Thank you so much for sharing your time with us. Do you guys have any other last thoughts or comments or questions?
I just want to say thank you for everything that you're doing, and I would love to join something to be more involved with all you guys.
Yeah,
So my parting words to you are going to be what I tell my clients.
Okay.
Observe, but do not absorb. All the craziness that's going on around you, observe it, be blessed, don't absorb it. It's not yours.
Okay.
Do what you're called to do. Stay the course, and it will be okay.
And that's Leslie's mantra: everything will be okay.
Absolutely.
That's a perfect note to end on.
Awesome. Okay, cool. Well, thank you so much. And for our audience that's sticking around, thank you so much. We hope that you've enjoyed this video. Please do us a favor and smash the like button, click subscribe, ring our notification bell, drop a lovely comment down below, and share this video with your family and friends to help us spread all these amazing messages. Okay, Melanie, we do a 3-piece hand gesture closure. I will show it to you, and if you're willing to join us, that's great. If not, that's cool too. We do much love, peace, and namaste. You down to join? We're going to do it together.
Fast. Okay.
I'll go slow.
Yeah, we'll go slow.
We'll go slow. Okay. All right. Here we go.
All right.
Much love.
Much love, everybody.
Yeah. Peace. And namaste.
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 Namaste.